What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here, and what I got for your face balls today, we're going to be talking about the American Service Knife. I didn't really know how I would like it when I purchased it. Honestly, when I first bought it, I felt like the price was pretty spendy for what it is, but I wanted to support the project because I thought it was a really interesting and cool thing. I went ahead and picked one up, and now that I've had it and had it in my pocket, I've carried it every single day this week. It's fantastic. It really is. We're going to talk about it. Here is the packaging that it comes in, and we're going to break it down. I'm going to pull it apart so you guys can see inside. Just to let you know, I am sitting in a hotel right at the moment. I am down in Florida. After Blade Show, I took off, came down here to Florida to spend this week with my son. Unfortunately, actually the timing was great that I came down when I did. However, there was a really unfortunate situation that happened, and one of my son's friends committed suicide that is in the Air Force. Because of that, my son had to take off today to go to a memorial event over in South Carolina, where this airman's family was from, in South Carolina. Of course, I'm bummed that my time with my son got cut short. However, I feel like him going to this memorial service was definitely something that was needed, as well as I'm really glad that I got to be here, with him and spend time with him right after this situation happened. So enough about that. Let's talk about the knife. So here's the packaging that you get. You can see here, American Service Knife, 100% made in the USA. It says modular design, which we're going to get into that. Pretty cool. Practical, robust tools, premium CPM steels, titanium hardware, and there's all sorts of good little quotes and stuff all over this packaging and all over the knife, and we're going to get into that as well. Here is information on the back of the box. Here's what you get. The box slides open like this. You get a little foam insert. Mr. Greg Medford came up with a new logo, very Ranger-esque, and you can see here we've got a pistol and a hammer, really cool, and you get a little Velcro patch as well as the sticker, so we'll throw those out right there, and then you get some paperwork, picture Greg Medford, there you go. So that is the extent of the packaging. Now, this is the knife. This one right here is called the Jefferson. It is, I think they're calling this grabber orange, very yellow looking scales. I really like them. I think they look fantastic. And right away, everybody's going to say that this very much resembles a Swiss Army knife. It does. There's no doubt about it. Size wise, let's see what we got here. So we are 3 11/16 overall length, and let's see, pivot to pivot, just a fuzz, or like 3 1/16, pivot to pivot. Thickness, yeah, about 5/8 of an inch. Size on this is really fantastic. The tools that are in here are extremely robust. They are 1/8 inch stock, so that is, about 30 thousandths thicker than what like a Swiss Army knife would be. I think most of their stuff is around 80 thousandths, maybe even a little thinner on the smaller stuff. I don't have any calipers here for me to measure anything like that, but this stuff is 1/8 inch, so we're looking at around 120 125 thousandths. I'm measuring that 1/8 inch with this, so take that with a grain of salt. It's close to 1/8 of an inch. This here is my most carried knife by far. This goes with me every single day. I actually had to pick up a new one of these because my other one got confiscated at an airport. But this is the SAC 580 nail clip, and these little clippers I use them constantly. Get a little sliver out or something, a little splinter. It's got of course, the toothpick and the tweezers, and then this model has got a nail file as well as a little pin blade and on the back side it has scissors. Pretty useful little tool. Like I said, by far and away my most carried knife, because this is just in my pocket daily, every single day. Well, since I picked this up, this has been in my pocket every single day, and I have really enjoyed using it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what my experience has been. So when I first picked it up, the 2 pivot screws were tightened down just a little bit too hard. And if you look here, you can see how tiny the space is to get into that nail neck. You absolutely have to use the nail neck, or at least I do, because there's no way I can grab a hold of that blade to pinch it open. So I have to use the nail neck. The pivot was too tight, and so it was really difficult. It was like just a nail ripper, you know? And the tools were even worse, because with the blade, you're pulling from over here and the pivot's over here, so you have a lot more leverage pulling the blade out. And then with the tools, they're much, much shorter. You can see where the nail neck is right there. I'm going to close the blade up there. And there's the 2 tools. Once I loosened up those pivot screws, it performed beautifully. Now I think it's a combination of loosening up the pivot as well as me just becoming comfortable with how to open it and kind of finding the best method that works for me. If you handle this knife and you think it's uncomfortable to open, don't let that discourage you, because you just have to kind of push through it. And then once you kind of figure out your hand placement and the angle and all that stuff, once you get that figured out, it's fantastic. The tools work wonderful. I mean, I've already used the cap lifter here a little bit, so that's great. This tool right here has a sharpened edge on it, although it's not sharpened enough to where it's going to cut you. It is sharpened enough that it is a fantastic scraping tool. So I used this to remove a couple of stickers, and it was wonderful. Like, this tool was amazing for that. And the way the tool is designed, it was perfect, and it's sharpened just enough to be a really, really functional scraper, but not be so sharp that it's going to cut you. Of course, you could use that to open packages and all that sort of stuff. And then the blade, which I was told by Super Steel Steve, that the blade on these was CPM S45VN, and the tools, I guess. I don't know that 100%. I'm just going off what he said. I was actually thinking I would maybe call up Greg or text him and see if he wants to come on a live stream, and we can talk about this model and just generally shoot the shit and whatnot. Post it up in the comments if you'd like me to have Greg Medford on one of our live streams to see if we can ask him some questions about the American Service Knife, as well as, just generally have a good time and shoot the shit like we do on lives. But anyway, this, whatever steel this is, so far it's performing beautifully for me. The half stop is great. Just functionally, this knife has been great. The size, what do we got? Overall, I haven't even measured the blade length on this thing. I've just been using it, you know what I mean? 2 7/8 blade length. So overall, you're right at 6.5 inches, just a skosh over, just a fuzz over 6.5. You can see here, it works well enough in my hand. It's very comfortable. The width of it is fantastic. This beautiful hollow grind. Now, I will say, personally, I would have loved to have seen the tools be a little bit thinner, and not so. I love the thickness of the tools here, but the spine of the blade. So if he would have kept the blade stock the same thickness, but then actually ground this down, to me, this is just way thicker than it needs to be, and you would have better cutting geometry with the hollow grind. If this was 80 thousandths across the spine, or even 90 thousandths across the spine with a little hollow grind, something that's really nice and like 10 thou behind the edge would have been fantastic. But again, I'm kind of pie in the sky stuff there. So a lot of the cool stuff that they have going on with this knife is how modular it is. And we're going to take a look right here, hopefully. So you guys can see here, this is the Jefferson, the one that I have with the drop point blade. They also have the Washington, which is a green model right there. And it has two different tools and a different blade shape. So that's got a little Tonto blade. This tool here is a AR bolt cleaner. And then the cap lifter with the holes in it is also a range finder. Here we have the iron sides, which I love the names. Those are fantastic. And this is probably my favorite of all of the blade shapes. This is a sax blade, and it has the standard cap lifter. And then it has a different tool that has a 1/4 inch and a 4mm hex. Or I think anyway, that's a 4mm. I'm not really sure, but for sure the larger one's a 1/4 inch hex. Or I shouldn't say for sure. It could be a 1/4 and a 5/16. I don't know. Either way, one of those is going to be a 1/4 inch, so you can put bits in it. And then we have this one here, the Alchese or Chuse. I'm not really sure how to say that. I did look that guy up. Pretty interesting. He was the Mr. I think it was William Alchese. He was trying to talk Geronimo into surrendering peacefully back in the Indian Wars, and he was given the Medal of Honor. So pretty interesting. I was not familiar with that name, so just based off this, I went and searched it out. But you can see there we've got a little Warncliffe blade on this one, and then this one has an awl, the cap lifter as well. And then as you go down, you can see the other blade shapes. So this is, everything is still out for pre-order, but coming very, very soon. So we've got just the drop point blade, the mono Tanto blade, the Warncliffe blade, and then my favorite is the sax blade. Absolutely love the sax blade. Looks beautiful. And then for tools, we've got the bolt scraper tool, which, like I said, this is shaped to be able to clean AR bolts, which is wonderful. We have the chisel tool, which is what I have on the Jefferson. We have the 1/4 turn tool, and then we have the awl, the bottle opener, and then the range finder with bottle opener. And then we've got some different colored handle scales. So you can see, they're called Grabber Orange handle set. And then we've got High Vis Orange, OD Green, really digging the gray that you can see there, Gardner Yellow. So that one's going to be a full-on yellow. And then Corsair Blue, Pink, Black, and White. And then here we get into the hardware stuff. So right now the knife comes as a double stack. You can get either a triple or a single stack. And then this piece here is this little guy that goes around the edge of where the knife blade goes on. So that's the spacer that you have to have with any of the blades. And then you could also put on one of the ends, so you can see the spacer right there on the other side, because of both sides there are a pivot. And I touched something. You can see there's no spacers on that side, but you can put a glass breaker on one of those sides, like that right there. So if you put a glass breaker on, my assumption is that that will always be sticking out. Actually, I know it will, because the barrels are D-shaped. And then here's the standard double stack with the tie hardware, and then of course the spring. And so you can order all these parts individually and make the knife whatever you want it to be, which is really, really cool. I'm really pumped for Greg and Medford Knife and Tool in general. I mean, it's such a unique thing, and it's really, really well done. And I think it's going to be well received in the knife community. Like I said, I was on the fence. I was like, man, $240 is a lot of money for this little double stack Swiss Army knife. But now that I've had it and I carried it, it really, really is fantastic. Let's pull this thing open real quick. I told you guys that the chisel tool works great for scraping stickers, which it most certainly does. It also works great for peeling oranges. It's absolutely gorgeous for that. So just to let you know, I've been, try to eat a piece of fruit every day, been peeling oranges. That tool is wonderful for that. So let me clean that up real quick. I'm gonna eat that once we're done with this video. These are a T25. So there's our 2 titanium screws. One of the real interesting things here is on the inside of the scales, we actually have some little Easter eggs going on in here. Around this pivot right here, it says liberty or death, which I really like. And then on this pivot right here, it says America established 1776. You know the deal. And then right here in the middle, it has the snake, and it says join or die. And it, if I can get the light on it just right, so you can see the snake right there, and it says join or die in really small letters. And then right here we have 33.68, and then over here we have minus 112.12. Now I haven't had a chance to research this yet. I have a feeling that that means something. I don't think that that's just a number in, you know, like a mold number or something like that. I could be way off. I could be just a total idiot, but I'm definitely going to look those 2 numbers up to see if there's something about that. I'm just not sure, and I just haven't had a chance to do any research yet. I should have done that before I did this video. I'd kind of forgotten about those 2 numbers, honestly, but I'm definitely going to look those up and see what I find. If I find out what those mean, I'll put it up in the description below. Another reason to have Greg on the live stream, right? Find out what the cryptic numbers are. The liners here are all titanium, and the construction, the build quality is really cool. So you can see that there is a stop pin right, or that's the center pivot pin for the back springs, and then there's the stop pin right there. You can see a hole over here as well for a stop pin, although it's not in at the moment. And I'll show you why here as soon as I get this off. All right, so there's the first liner, and then so you can now see the back springs and see the squared off tangs. You can see there's a little, I mean, look how well that fits in there. The little protuberance that comes off the corners there. And these tools are actually quite easy to get out, just like that. Sorry, bumping the camera. But you can see here, there you go, the little protuberance that is on the corner right there. So that helps when the tool is in the deployed position. That helps provide a little more resistance before it will close on your hand. And then we can lift that tool off, same exact deal there. From there, you can just lift off the back spring for that stack. We have a central liner, which we're going to go ahead and open up this blade. If you're going to go to a triple stack setup, you would need another one of these central liners, as well as longer pivot barrels. This is the stop pin for your blade. It can go on either side, so you can flip-flop the blade. One thing you do want to be cognizant of is the location of nail nick on your blade. So you want to make sure you put it in the correct orientation to where you can get at the nail nick. Currently at Blade Show, this was the only model that was available, but I noticed in the photographs that the nail nick on some of the blades is on the opposite side. So that's going to mean that you're, you know, for that to be on the exterior of the knife, you're going to have to flip it around, run it from the different pivot or what have you. Because of how low the blade sits in the handle, I don't think that you are going to want, I doubt you could run it in the middle. And that's why the tools sit at different heights. Really, I think you can, you know, run 2 knife blades on, you know, if you were going to do like a triple stack setup, you could run 2 knife blades. The other thing that I don't know, nowhere on the website did I see where you could purchase just the stop pins. So I'm hopeful that if you buy a blade, you know, just a loose blade, that it comes with the stop pin, because you're definitely going to need that, because there is no other stop pin in in the knife here. So here's the little block off plates. So you can do these little rounded guys like this, or you could do one that has a glass breaker. That's kind of a cool scenario. That is the American service knife. So now I'm going to put this back together really quick. I'm just going to drop this down, push that back spring up. Now I'm going to put get that down on there. Just like so. We'll throw down our other spring. I know this video is going to be long. Yeah, that one can go there. So the other thing you need to look out for is how you orient these other tools. Okay, just like that. These tools have this taper to them, and so the flat edge needs to go up against, yeah, I think that's how I had them before. As well as, you know, the rounded end piece and the glass breaker, that has to go where the knife is, unless you're going to only have one tool in the middle stack. If you pulled this tool out, because it fills the place where the pivot has to be for that other tool. But again, you could certainly do that. These things are fully customizable, and you can see the D shape right there. I'll get it pushed on that central pivot and then push it up. So the back springs, you know, kind of bow the knife a little bit as you're building it. But then once you go through and put the stacks on, it's really fantastic how well this thing works. Make sure that each stack is pushed down flat. Your pins are sticking up to engage with the plastic scale. We are looking good. And then I'm going to put mine on this way. So both the American flag logos are down on that side. I mean, you could flip it around the other way if you'd like. This is just the way that I like to do it. Because this thing is so modular, I mean, you just do, you know, whatever works best for you and you think looks the best. This is really more just a aesthetic thing here as far as which direction you put the scales on, because it has all the holes in it. You absolutely could flip them around. You know, once the other colors come out, you'll be able to mix and match and, you know, run one blue one gray one, you know, whatever. So that's really cool. And like I said, you definitely don't want to run these too tight, although I am going to tighten them up pretty good right at this moment, and then I'll back them back off. Perfect. All right, now let's check it out. Oh yeah, we got no blade play, and the tools are working beautifully. That was an in-depth look at the American service tool. Oh, really quick. So you can see on this one right here, we've got this laser etching, says made in the USA on the cap lifter bottle opener. And then on the scraper tool or the chisel tool, this one has an American flag that is laser etched on it. And I showed this off on a live stream that I did on Sunday night after Blade Show. If you guys don't know, that's the normal time that we do our live streams. I had a couple people hit me back and say that their knife does not have those etches on it. That's another reason to get Mr. Greg Medford on the live stream and see if, you know, is that normal? Were they supposed to all be laser etched like that, or is this one just an anomaly and has the laser etches on it? I mean, it could go either way, because on one hand, the Made in the USA on the cap lifter looks really cool. This one looks cool as well, but it does carry over into where the cutout is, which seems a little bit odd. You know, they could have flipped the orientation or something and put the little flag. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little bit odd that it goes into where that cutout is. So maybe these were just done by mistake and they were testing different stuff. I don't know. But, you know, it would be an interesting conversation to ask Greg about that. But anyway, guys, there you go. The American Service Knife, made in Arizona. Absolutely beautiful. I've been loving this thing. It's come in so handy so many times over this week. And it really is great. I know it's a little expensive. However, you know, I think don't judge it until you get one in your hand and are able to use it, because it's a really cool tool. So there you go, guys. That's my take on the American Service Knife, new from Medford Knife and Tool. Ask Knives. I can't wait to see what else comes out. I'm confident that we're probably going to see, you know, new and interesting, you know, maybe some new blades, but of course I'm going to guess that we're going to see new tools coming in the future, as well as, you know, potentially other modifications for the American Service Knife. But right now, this is the one model that's out there, the Jefferson, and I absolutely love it. Love the names of them. Just real quick, you have to go to askknife.com, not Medford Knife and Tool, to check out this. I'll throw a link up in the description where you can check it out. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you later.